Perfect girl. Even a table at your favorite dance club. It takes moving fast. It takes moving at the speed of 4G. With Intel 4G LTE, you've got it all covered. That's because you have access to super fast unlimited data that enables you move as fast as the speed of life. Now, no download is too heavy. No conversation too long. Nothing is impossible. Get Intel 4G LTE Advanced today and do so much more. Intel. Live more.
Alright, welcome back. It's still Morning Ride on NTA2 and thank you for still staying tuned. Our next guest is on seat and she's here to tell us more that we need to know about albinism. And you know, Kazim,
yeah.
There are a lot of myths, there are a lot of stories surrounding it. I remember when we were young, then people would say so many things, and then there was this kind of stigmatization that people will even put it down. No. But unfortunately, those that pray that they don't want, they are the ones that have it. But I realize that now, you would see them and you would love them. Like our guest, she's looking so beautiful.
So beautiful.
You will see that and be like, oh, I wish I would.
Don't unveil her yet. Let the viewers get to see what we're talking about here. That's nice. I mean, you just had we're talking about albinism, and we know that it's a genetic condition that causes a person to produce little or no melanin. That's a pigment responsible for color of our skin, and it leads to lack of color in the skin, the hair, and the eyes. It's also associated with vision problems. So the plight of this set of people living with albinos is what we are going to be talking about. The challenges and of course how we can mitigate it together, all this together as a society. But before we unveil her, Afumi is already telling you how beautiful our guest is today. But before we unveil her, let's see our profile frame. We'll be back. Yeah, that was the profile of our guest. Now you saw the picture there. If you think that is beautiful, you're here to see what we're talking about. We have with us today Mrs. Josephine Omolola, our guest today, the convener of Lagos Albinism Society, Awareness Society, and the coordinator of the Albinism Foundation, Vice Chairman 1, Lagos Chapter, and she, of course, a professional nurse. She's another part. We will bring that up in the course of this. Let's join us to welcome Mrs. Josephine Omolola. You're welcome, madam. Thanks for joining us on Morning Ride.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I must say you're beautiful, man.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you.
For the compliments.
Yeah, good to have you with us. Yeah, yes.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, albinism. We know it's a rare genetic condition as a result of little or lack of melanin. Well, I think that's much we know, because that's what we were able to gather here and there. Yes. But tell us more about it.
Yes, albinism is a non-contagious condition that, as you've said, due to lack of melanin. And in this part of the world, we have a lot of myths surrounding it. Okay. These myths, I can term it as fables, something that has no basis. But it has been passed down from generation to generation. Like persons with albinism doesn't eat salt. Salt has nothing
to do with melanin. If you are a biology student, which I know every one of us that goes to above primary school education will do that in secondary school. And this has really affected our people a lot. Instead of them to protect themselves from dangerous rays of the sun that is really damaging the skin, because the skin has no protection. It's the melanin that gives you color, that synthesize the vitamins that protect the skin from that harmless rays. But for persons with albinism, they don't have that melanin, or they have little. Therefore, they are directly exposed to those dangerous rays, especially now that we're talking about the eroded ozone layers and all the emissions, dangerous emissions here and there. We are highly vulnerable now, and we have a lot of us coming down with skin cancer. So I want to crave your indulgence to even say to the public now that they should go about cautioning any person with albinism seen exposing themselves to these rays, especially between say from 10 a.m. to that 5 p.m. when we have this heat of the sun.
That's what causes
yes, because
on the body.
Yes, those spots, some are when they have this scattered melanin trying to come up. Some are the cells underneath are damaged and they are coming up with precancerous cell, which if it's not properly managed will blow out to be skin cancer. And when we talk of cancer, cancer is cancer. We've heard about breast and all sorts of other cancers. The cancer peculiar to persons with albinism is skin cancer, and it's just grow fast, and the treatment can be so expensive and cumbersome to manage. So I want to use this opportunity to even raise that campaign that it's not by salt, by eating salt, it's by avoiding exposure to sun rays.
Okay, ma'am. Very good one. You have placed on the table here now that it's not by salt. Honestly, many of us grew up with that.
That's me.
That was why I just
you are
disabused that.
Disabusing our mind concerning that, and I think we're having better understanding about it. But very essentially, the part of the sun, and when we see the result of what this has brought to many people living with albinism, or certainly you have this, you empathize with them, with them when you see what the skins are turning into. But here you are sitting, before us here. We're complimenting you all the while, because we're still trying to, in our head, if truly you are living with this. So, how did you be able to manage this? I mean, you're not young. You're not young. I'm looking at you. You're a grandmother now.
Yes, I'm a grandmother.
Yes, how are you able to manage this thing that you look in this way, so that those out there also can also learn?
Well, what I will say is, I think maybe care of my parents. I live with my grandmother. I was born in the era where parents go to England to sojourn for further studies. So I was dropped with my grandma, who really took proper care of me. But these days, what we've learned is that time I don't know, maybe they took proper care of me, they have. What I know is any child, with my own experience as a coordinator of the Albino Foundation since inception and a convener of Lagos State Albinism Awareness Society, I've been in this advocacy system and I've interacted with a lot of parents and people. What I realize is those children that are being backed to farm, to market, that are being exposed to these dangerous rays at tender age, before they get to the age of 3, 4, you started having that damaging signs on their skin. And if proper care is not taken, it will blow out they will have freckles. What I'm going to say at this point is, if you have an albino child, make sure you see a proper dermatologist. those of them that really comes to the meetings where we cancel them, because in Lagos State we do our cancelling every second Saturday of the month. We used to have that meeting in Lasut before, and we've moved to Yaba now. So we cancel them. You have to see a dermatologist, and with every red spot on your skin as an albino, you must not pinch or probe. And you must not go to a quack who will mistake a precancerous lesion for a boil. Because once it's open,
Or a rash.
once it's open, it's blown out of proportion. And again, because of our background in this part of the world, we believe everything is by evil arrow. That really affects us. It really affects persons with albinism. Before they will come out, the cancer will have gotten to a stage where they cannot manage it. And at this time, I want to even really thank Lagos State government through Lagos Office of Disability Affairs, LASODA. They've really intervened in few cases where we and the family of that girl cannot handle. We have to write letters through LASODA to the government, and they responded. And we are still on top of some issues like that. But for us to have proper care, like me, you have to wear proper clothing. A wide brim hat, a t-shirt covering your neck, a pants, long trousers with a proper shoe covering your leg. I would have dressed like that to come for the program, but I just decided that let me just come here, I will explain. But once you have an albino child, you have to see the optometrist as eye specialist, because
you see most albinos on glasses.
yes, you know, because of that, according to your definition where you were reading, it affects the eyes. The melanin that gives color and protection to the eyes is not available. So sun goes right down to the eye, to the back of the eye, and that makes an albino at times squint or so. And that is it. And that's why we say if you are going out in the sun, you put on a sunshade, an anti-reflect sunshade, or see an optometrist or ophthalmologist for your care, who will give you, an optometrist will give you a prescribed lens with constant photochromic or anti-sun reflex that will protect the eyes. This will even protect the eyes from danger of having eye cancer. So all starts from the home. Once you know you have an albino child, if you see an albino child at birth with a Caucasian baby, there is no difference. The only difference is in growing up and maintenance. And that's why they don't see albino issue as a big deal in that part of the world. But in this part of the world, I used to make a statement that if the health stakeholders, global stakeholder on health has been from this part of the world, they will have rated albinism care very high in this part of the world, because before they will say, albinism, you are not disabled, globally you are low vision. That's why I used to tell them in this part of the world, persons with albinism are highly disabled. And why I'm so passionate about this advocacy of protecting yourself, getting out of the sun, is an incident that occurred to me few years back. I just went out in the sun. I've gotten a spot on my neck. The mark is still there now. And I went out with my granddaughter. She wanted something. Before I come back, I've started bleeding from that spot. If not that I have a good job, I can afford the fluorouracil, which cost 46,400 at that time. I will have come down with that neck cancer. So I'm using this avenue to tell families of persons with albinism that they should wear proper clothing. You should not flaunt your skin in the sun.
I was going there. For, you just said that because you have a good job. And while you
Yes.
were talking, you mentioned ophthalmologist, you mentioned dermatologist.
Yes.
For somebody who does not have a good job, for instance, unquote, and who has a child with albinism.
And that's
Oh, okay. So now, are you saying that just dressing, is it dressing up or dressing down now? Just making sure that you cover the whole of your body. Is it
they
enough?
even no.
So how does the person pay the bills? How, because
And,
you understand what I'm
and
trying
that
to
No, I
comes
get you, I
that
get you.
comes to most of our challenges
Okay.
Okay.
in this part of the world.
Definitely, we're coming to that.
Yes, because financial challenges is peculiar to persons with albinism. And I will tell you the reason why. You know, when an albino gets to school, because of the low vision, probably he cannot see the board. And now, with teachers not understanding, like how I used to counsel whenever I find the opportunity to counsel the teacher, that an albino child should be placed strategically, not only in the front. If you put the person in the front at an awkward angle, it may still not work. And that's why I use the word strategically, where they'll be able to see. And the teacher must make sure he checks what he or she is writing, that is writing the correct
I'm
things.
sure that is actually saying.
And the parents too should monitor the children's work.
Cannot unravel right now is that when you talk about disability, you are already looking at people with certain impairments, challenges physically.
Like you can see.
Other than the
That
fact
you
that
can see.
other than the fact that our color, the color of our skin different from yours, what is disabled about albinism?
Globally, I've mentioned it before, all persons with albinism are low vision. And that's why you see us putting on glasses.
Everybody uses glasses.
No, no, there is degree in using glasses.
Okay.
And the peculiar one that people doesn't note, that I know is peculiar to this area, is the stigmatization, the bullying, the discrimination, the name calling.
That's right.
So many of them, I can't count them.
Okay.
They are all there. But the major one, which I'll call the father of all, is this exposure to the dangerous sun rays, which I've told you my experience.
Exactly.
Supposing someone doesn't have work, and that's why we always call on government to come to our aid, especially in supply of this fluorouracil. Fluorouracil is so expensive. When I first discussed with General Manager Lasoda, he was thinking it's something to come by easy. Until when he knows he goes around the country and he couldn't get the quantity they needed for us.
Wow.
They have to import.
Thank you.
And that's what I want the government, not even Lagos State government, the federal government to come to our plight. They should not see albino, like somebody seeing me on the road now will say, yes, you have no, yeah.
Well,
Why should I go into the sun within 15,
Thank you.
20 minutes and I start bleeding from my
Wow.
neck?
Thank you very much, ma. The convener, Lagos Albinism Awareness Society, Mrs. Josephine Omolola. Time is just not our friend, but thank you so much for the little you have been able to push out there for the people who have these conditions. And I hope that they know where to be come June 18.
18,
Very
yes.
essentially, I hope at the national level what the Albino Foundation is pushing, as a
Yes,
deal, I hope that goes
that was where all of us come from.
Exactly.
Until date, I'm still the Albino Foundation
Beautiful.
coordinator for Lagos State.
Wow.
J.K. Pele was the first advocacy,
Thank you.
was the first person to advocate.
We know J.K. Pele very well.
Yes, to
I know
advocate
him
for
very
albinism
well.
in this
Very well.
country. And
All
I've
right,
been
thank
with him
you.
from
Thank
onset.
you very much, ma. Thank you very much. You see that there's so much to talk about issue
Yes.
of albinism. We hope there will be another time to, dwell more on that. But at least she's been able to, create enough awareness today